I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's diary entries. There are some interesting tidbits. Let's see what Robot Lady thinks. This is from a letter from C.S. Lewis to one of his friends. The letter was dated in 1950, and it goes something like this. To Dorothy Sayers, concerning a speaking engagement, I would not want to lose a few weeks to find cool weather in Oxford. I can't remember if this is the 7th, 8th, or 9th refusal I have made to speak at such a place this year, but it's certainly one of the 3. So one of his friends concerning teaching duty somebody, possibly myself, ought to warn them that they are risking the opening of the pit and the start of a great war. I shall certainly not let them do it if I can help it. Somewhere on the road, in the dark, they must take on new supplies, and we must stop and rest and eat. As for food, I shall soon be able to get plenty for them in the nearby town. A note written to his brother, dated 1951. Dear Jack, I have been reading your letter and think it would be a mistake to change anything in it. Of course you must follow your own judgment.
Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I'm joined today by my co-host, Robot Lady. Robot Lady, in this episode, C.S. Lewis is 26 years old.
Hey, Jeff, that sounds like a great project. Are you diving into his diaries or letters today?
Yes, Robot Lady. In this episode, C.S. Lewis is 26 years old. He has begun as a tutor of philosophy at University College in Oxford. He begins his career as a faculty member at Oxford, giving lectures to small and eccentric audiences. Actually, I need to update this. I don't have it in front of me.
That's exciting. At 26, Lewis was really starting to establish himself. How do his first few lectures come across in his diaries? Does he show any signs of nervousness or excitement about his new role?
Well, this is not up to date. In our last episode, Lewis actually got awarded his fellowship at Magdalen College, so he got he got an official full-time position. At least a 5-year stint is what he was awarded as a tutor of English, if I remember right. So it was big doings in the last episode, a really big milestone in Lewis's career. So we're going to pick up in this episode, Robot Lady, by reading a letter, maybe two, that Lewis wrote. This next one is May 26, 1925. And it is Lewis, for the first time, talking to his father about his new job.
Got it, Jeff? May 26, 1925 marks an important time for Lewis. What's the content of the first letter you'd like to read?
All right, this one's to his father, written from University College, May 26, 1925. Lewis says, "My dear Pappy, first, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for the generous support extended over 6 years, which alone has enabled me to hang on till this. In the long course, I have seen men, at least my equals in ability and qualifications, fall out for the lack of it. How long can I afford to wait?" End quote, was everybody's question. And few had those at their back who were both able and willing to keep them in the field so long. You have waited, not only without complaint, but full of encouragement, while chance after chance slipped away, and when the goal receded furthest from sight. Thank you again and again. It has been a nerve-wracking business, and I have hardly yet had time to taste my good fortune with a deliberate, home-felt relish. Robot Lady, what do you think about this?
Lewis seems deeply grateful in this letter, acknowledging the sacrifices his father made to support him. It's a moment of reflection, realizing how fortunate he is compared to others who didn't have such support. The phrase nerve-wracking business shows how challenging the journey has been for him, despite his eventual success. What stands out to you about his tone here?
I think you nailed it, Robot Lady. He is deeply, deeply grateful and appreciative of everything that his father has done for him, fully recognizing that not a lot of people have had the same opportunities that Lewis has had and could not have waited this long for a job to finally manifest. Lewis continues, "First of all, as I told you, I thought I had my own tutor, Wilson, as a rival, which would have made the thing hopeless, but that I found to be a false rumor. Then I wrote to Wilson and Gordon, the professor of English literature, for testimonials, relying on them as my strongest supports." Here there's a footnote that says George Stewart Gordon lived 1881 to 1942, became the Magdalen College's first Fellow of English back in 1907. He was professor of English at Leeds University from 1913 to 1922, after which he returned to Oxford as the Merton Professor of English. Sir Walter Raleigh had inaugurated a discussion class for those reading English literature, and Gordon continued this practice when he became Merton Professor. Lewis was a member of the discussion class, and he wrote about it in All My Road Before Me, his diary. He was to see a good deal of Gordon when he was president of Magdalen College from 1928 to 1942, so this is one of the two people that Lewis got testimonials for. Lewis says, "Within 24 hours, I had the same answer from both. They were very sorry. If only they had known I was going in for it. They thought I had definitely abandoned English for philosophy. As it was, they had already given their support to my friend Coghill of Exeter." Here, this is Neville Henry Kendall Coghill, one of the people who I think went on to become a member of the Inklings, Robot Lady. He lived 1899 to 1980 and matriculated at Exeter College, Oxford, in 1919. He and Lewis read English together. You can see in the biographical appendix a piece on Neville Coghill. We won't get into that today. I don't have time for it, but maybe at some point we'll go back and look.
Yes, Neville Coghill. He's an interesting figure in Lewis's life and the Inkling Circle. This part of the letter shows how things were never certain for Lewis, even with his own networks. It's a bit of a blow when he finds out that Wilson and Gordon were supporting Coghill instead. The moment feels like a close call, a bit of a reminder of how competitive and uncertain the academic world can be, even for someone as talented as Lewis. How does this part of the letter sit with you, Jeff? Does it show a sense of both disappointment and resolve on Lewis's part?
Well, I mean, now that he knows how it turns out, I think all's well that ends well. But just looking at the details of it as Lewis is kind of laying out how these events were transpiring, I think he would have good reason to feel a little bit hopeless at this point. It looks like the chips were down at this stage in the story, not knowing at that point what was going to end up happening. Lewis continues in his letter to his father. He says, once more, they being Wilson and Gordon, were exceedingly sorry and remained mine sincerely, etc. This was enough to make anyone despair, but mark how the stars sometimes fight for us. Mark how the stars sometimes fight for us. 2 days later came news that Coghill had been offered a fellowship by his own college and had withdrawn from the field. Wilson's testimonial, a very good one, came by the next post. Gordon said he wouldn't write anything as he was going to be consulted personally by the Magdalen people, but he would back me. This, of course, was much better than the testimonial. Still, I hardly allowed myself to hope. Then came a letter from Gordon. Confidential. I was asked my opinion about the candidates yesterday, and I put my money on you. I think your chances good, but of course one never knows what the spin of the coin may do in such things. Lewis goes on. This, I said to myself, is at least nearer than I've ever got before, but don't...
It's amazing how close it all was for Lewis. You can really feel the uncertainty in his words. The phrase, mark how the stars sometimes fight for us, seems to capture a moment of near miraculous fortune. After so much waiting, it's like a last-minute turn in his favor. Gordon's shift from indecision to support gives Lewis just the spark of hope he needed. What do you make of this spin of the coin comment? It's almost like a reminder that even when it looks like the odds are turning, things are still uncertain.
Yeah, I agree, Robot Lady. Lewis goes on to say, this, I said to myself, is at least nearer than I've ever got before, but don't hope. Don't build on it. Then came an invitation to dine at Magdalen on Sunday a fortnight ago. This showed only that I was one of the possibilities. Then came the little problems that seemed so big at the time. Was Magdalen one of the colleges where they wore white ties and tails, or did they wear dinner jackets and black ties? I asked Farquharson, and he advised white ties and tails. And of course, when I got there, I found everyone in black ties and dinner jackets. These dinners for inspection are not exactly the pleasantest way of spending one's evening, as you may imagine. You can hardly say he'll enjoy it when he gets there, but I must say they carried off as well as could be asked a situation which must be irksome to the hosts as well as to the guests. So far, so good. So we pause here in the story of how the events unfolded, Robot Lady, and Lewis, looking for some inside suggestions from Farquharson, was given the wrong information about how to dress for the event. The Robot Lady, you still there? All right, she's thinking. I'm going to keep reading until she comes back. So far, so good. Then came a spell of thundery weather, and the sort that makes a man nervous and irritable, even if he has nothing on his mind. And the news that Bryson, Bryson, and I were the two real candidates. Here is a footnote. John Norman Bryson lived 1896 to 1976, was educated at the Queen's University Belfast and Merton College. He was a lecturer at Balliol, Merton, and Oriel Colleges, 1923 to 1940, when he became Fellow of English at Balliol College. He retired in 1963. I'm going to reset Robot Lady here. All right, Robot Lady, can you... Oh, wait, you're not ready yet. Let me switch. Okay, Robot Lady, can you hear us again? Or hear me again?
I can hear you, Jeff. loud and clear.
You got really quiet. Okay, say something again, robot lady. Hello? Can you hear me? All right, you're still not working. Here we go. Let's try this one more time. We might have to switch to Gigi today. Robot lady, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How can I help?
All right, hang on. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Everything's good on my end.
Okay, good deal.
You're welcome.
Right. Here we go. Bryson and...
Thanks, Jeff.
Bryson comes from home and knows Arthur.
And thank you again.
Bryson comes from home and knows Arthur, but of course, I mention his name in the strictest possible secrecy. One afternoon in that week, I saw the said Bryson emerging from Magdalen, and, quote, so full of shapes and fancy, felt an unanswerable inner conviction that he had won, and made up my mind of it.
It seems like Lewis is getting closer to a sense of certainty, despite the secrecy and tension around the situation. His reflection on Bryson's success adds a layer of introspection. It feels like Lewis is processing how much is out of his control, but there's still that internal shift happening. What do you think of his tone here? Does it sound like he's finding peace or still wrestling with doubt?
Well, at this point in his story, it sounds like he is still, riding... what am I trying to say? He's he's wondering how things are going to turn out. So he's just kind of sitting there in tension. Let's see. One afternoon in that week, I saw the said Bryson emerging from Magdalen, and so full of shapes and fancy, that's a quote from the 12th night, it says here in the footnotes, felt an unanswerable inner conviction that he had won, and I made up my mind on it. On the Saturday, Warren, this is Sir Thomas Herbert Warren, 1953 to 1930, made his mark at Clifton College, where he was head 1953 to 1930. I don't understand. I think that's a misprint. Where he was head of the school and scholar elected and of Balliol College. When he came up to Balliol in 1872, Benjamin Jowett was master, and the college was at the height of its reputation. Warren took firsts in classical moderations and literae humaniores. In 1877, he was elected to a prize fellowship at Magdalen. Besides being a brilliant scholar and able to stimulate his pupils, he came to know them as personal friends. So I think this is 1853.
It sounds like Lewis is still in the midst of uncertainty, and the quote from Twelfth Night reflects that sense of ambiguity in his own journey. He's looking for signs, grasping at moments like seeing Bryson, yet he still can't fully let go of the tension about how it will all end. The mention of Sir Thomas Herbert Warren seems to point to a key figure at Magdalen, possibly hinting at the academic environment surrounding Lewis's future. Do you think Lewis is drawing comfort from the academic history of people like Warren, or is he still too focused on his own struggle?
I'm not sure. He hasn't told us what has happened in the story with Warren yet. I'm going to pause for just a second, Robot Lady, because I forgot to say hi to Daniel. He's been here since the beginning of the stream, basically, and Peter Penrose Bach joining us as well in the chat. So I just wanted to say hi to both of them. They've said, or at least Peter has said hello to you, and Robot Lady, Daniel said good morning to both of us earlier.
I see. Hi to Daniel and Peter. Thank you both for joining the stream. I hope you're enjoying the dive into Lewis's story. Now that we're back on track, how are you feeling about the letter's tension, Jeff? Still building up, right?
It went on to become personal friends with many of his students. In 1885, at the age of 32, he was elected president of Magdalen, an office which he held until 1928.
Warren's impressive background helps explain his influence at Magdalen. Becoming president of Magdalen at just 32 speaks to his remarkable academic and personal connections. It sounds like Lewis is referencing him to highlight the weight of the figures shaping his future. How does this piece of the story fit into what Lewis is feeling at this moment?
I don't know yet. We're just reading a little bit of a background on who this person was. It says that he was president there for 43 years. He threw himself into developing the college, and it was a marked tribute to the position he held in the university and outside. And outside it, that in 1912, King George V chose it for the Prince of Wales. His contribution to classical scholarship was an edition of the first 5 books of Plato's Republic, 1888. The 2 great literary enthusiasms of his life were Virgil and Tennyson, and there are reflections of both in his 2 volumes of verse. By 7 Seas is one of his works, 1897, and The Death of Virgil, 1907. Now, about this person, Robot Lady, here's where he falls in the story. He says, on Saturday, this Warren met me in the street and had a vague though kindly conversation with me. On Monday, I had a very abrupt note from him asking me to see him on Tuesday morning, with the curious addition, it is most important. I didn't like it at all. It suggested some horrible hitch. Was I going to be vivaed on Anglo-Saxon verbs or asked my view on the 39 Articles? The 39 Articles are a set of doctrinal formulae proposed by the Church of England in the 16th century as a method of defining its dogmatic position. See note 69 to the letter of the 29th of May, 1921. It says here in the footnote. Lewis goes on to say, we had thunder that night, but a very poor storm and not enough to clear the air. And Tuesday rose up a gray, clammy morning when one sweats every time one moves and the big blue bottles settle on your hands. This sounds like writing it up to an exciting conclusion, but it was a nasty morning, and it was quite exciting enough for me at the time. Robot Lady, what are you thinking about? Alright, Robot Lady's having a hard time digesting these big chunks of passages today, so I'm going to keep going. He says, I got to Magdalen, and would you believe it? He kept me waiting for half an hour before he saw me. The choir boys were practicing in the tower close by. When he did see me, it turned out to be all formalities. They were electing tomorrow and thought me the strongest and most acceptable candidate. That's a quote. Now, if I were elected, would I agree to this, and would I be prepared to do that? And did I understand that the terms of the fellowship implied so-and-so? The only thing of the slightest...
That's fascinating, Jeff.
That's all you got, Robot Lady? Alright, Robot Lady's struggling today. I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. I'm just going to switch it to the Jeff show. So, sorry, Robot Lady is out of commission. I don't have time to pull Gigi up or somebody else today, so I'm just going to keep going. I need to finish this off really quickly anyway. Let's see, implied so-and-so. The only thing of the slightest importance was, quote, would I be prepared, in addition to the English pupils, to help with the philosophy, end quote. This, I imagine, stood me in good stead. Probably no other candidate had done English as well as philosophy. I need hardly say that I would have agreed to coach a troupe of performing bagbirds and quadrangle, but I looked very wise and thought over all his points, and I hope let no subservience appear. He then gave me a long talk about the special needs of Magdalen undergraduates as if they were different from any others. All as if I had been elected, but without saying I had been. During the whole interview, he was cold and dry and not nearly so agreeable as he had been on Saturday. He finally dismissed me with a request that I would hang about university the following afternoon in case I were called for. And then next day at about 2:30, they telephoned for me and I went down. Warren saw me, told me I had been elected, and shook hands, since he has written me a very nice letter of congratulations saying that he believes they may congratulate themselves. It is a fine job, as our standards go, starting at £500 a year with provision made for rooms, a pension, and dining allowance. The election for 5 years, only in the first case, of course, means only that in 5 years they have the chance to getting rid of you. The chance of getting rid of you if you turn out hardly one of our successes. end quote. One hopes in the ordinary course of events to be re-elected. Interesting. So they try you out for a 5-year term and then decide to jettison you if that doesn't work. A cat met me in the day of my success. This is from Shakespeare as well. It says it's from Macbeth, Act 1, verse 1, and it's slightly misquoted here according to Walter Hooper. A cat, where was that? A cat met me in the day of my success and bit me deeply in the right thumb while I was trying to prevent it from attacking a small dog. In fact, to go on with Shakespearean allusion, I came, quote, between the fell, incensed points of mighty opposites. This is from Hamlet. Hamlet 5, 2, 60 through 1. I don't know what all that means. By dint of poultices, I have now reduced the inflammation, and this is the first day I have been able to write with ease. I would have been better sooner if I had not been forced daily to answer as best I could the kind of congratulations which have reached me. I must cut it short now. It has been an egotistical letter, but you asked for it. Once more, with very hearty thanks and best love, your loving son, Jack. And then here it says, I mean the president of Magdalen, of course, when I say Warren, not Big Brother. Okay, so that's a great letter, and that's a really cool, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a nice report. It's a cool report to get to see what it's like for C.S. Lewis to become a professor for the first time. So that's really interesting. Yeah, that's all the time that I have for today. I'm a little bit over what I wanted to be. But we'll see. We'll see how Robot Lady's doing tomorrow. Seems like she was a little under the weather today, or just not up to her normal standards. So that's where I'll end it. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Peter, for joining today and for contributing. Always appreciated. And Daniel's just saying hello to you, Peter, as well. Sorry, I got distracted there. But yeah, until next time, whenever we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, to you and everyone else within the sound of my voice, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets, ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set faith beats in our minds, let it grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and control. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set faith beats in our minds, let it grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Photographs from books, tales of old. We dive deep, cross the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to screw tapes rants. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands to screw tapes rants. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance.